What does that mean to you?
To you,
because
I've only recently started describing myself as a politician. Before I used to run away from that tag. Like I don't want to be called a politician.
Because it's a very
I
don't want to say dirty.
But I think that's the exact thing. We need to get into that space. We need to get there, and we need to not allow them to define who the politician is. I believe very strongly that look, over the years you've had a demonization. I mean, you had coups, you had military coups, right from 1966, you had military coups. And for them to hold on to power, they had to continue to justify it by demonizing the political class. So they deliberately demonized politicians. They deliberately demonized the politics. Babangida's government banned any discussion on politics. You can't even talk about politics. Aton Zeribi was arrested for discussing politics in his own compound. Bolagi was arrested for discussing politics in his own compound. They arrested all of them, about 18 of them in 1992, for discussing politics in their compound. So they couldn't even discuss politics. And the way I see it, so our generation has to take advantage of that, because there's so much freedom now in the political space. With all due respect to everybody who's on the political scene now, I consider myself, and I consider even the average Nigerian, most of us, all of us in this room, I consider us more knowledgeable about politics than many of these guys who are there now. Because these guys they couldn't even discuss politics. At least now you know that, okay, the maneuverings, people can be lying, a lot of things, some of us are involved in politics. You can discuss politics and know what's going on, So, but these guys could not. And there was no internet. You couldn't. So they came into politics basically without any idea of politics.
So what is politics to you?
Politics for me is a vehicle, is a tool towards bettering the lives of people. And along the line, a lot of your own personal aspirations also come in.
Right.
So you want to aspire, you have an ambition, and that ambition is tied towards developing the lives of people. And one of the best things about politics for me is I've seen some of the best human beings I know are politicians. And I know a lot of people always say that, politicians lie. Look, if you lie to a politician, he's not going to trust you again. If you lie in political circles, you're not going to be trusted. I know people who, if you tell them you're coming by 1 p.m. and you're not there by 1 p.m., they might not call you, but they're going to look at you like, then they will drop it on you like, that guy, if he says he's coming 1 p.m. or no, he's coming by 5. And you'll be like, but I thought we are politicians, we all do this. They're like, no. In-house, you don't lie to us. If it's us, you don't lie. You tell us the truth. If it's like, you tell us. If anything happened, don't even lie. If you kill somebody, tell us.
So what is your
don't lie to us.
What is your aspiration as a politician, especially with the upcoming? I'm just asking.
I love to facilitate, and that's where I mentioned the role of personal aspiration.
That's really amazing.
Ambition. I love to facilitate. So
what does that mean?
I also want to open the door. Most of what I want, most of my aspirations so far have been in the line of party management.
Okay.
Party management, supporting candidates. I don't like to aspire myself, because I think, my temperament is not so good for aspiration. I'm not the kind of person who likes to smile 24/7.
But you've been smiling the whole time now.
Yeah, I'm smiling here, but not to crowds. Okay. Politicians have to do a lot. I see politicians speaking calls from market women, from area boys.
Okay, so you're like, I'm not about that life.
I don't like, but I'm learning from it.
Yeah.
But it's not my ideal.
Got it.
It's not my ideal. I'm the kind of person who wants to shut down for 2 days and just go away.
The role of the facilitator is critical.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's critical. Maybe that's a good way to start the context, right? As a facilitator in those scenes.
Yeah.
And I want to say, first of all, I have immense respect. I used to have what I would call an immature view of politics and politicians, and now realize that it's a duty. To be political should be seen as a duty of the Nigerian youth. You can decide how interested you are, involved you want to be.
Literally.
Yes, but you should not be a Nigerian today without a PVC. Yeah. You should not be a Nigerian today without being in a political party.
Absolutely.
Or being part of something.
Without being in a political party?
Yes, but without being a member of the process by which our leaders are decided. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Do you know what I'm saying? You can vote, and you can also be part of the system by which those leaders, you know what I'm saying? So I see the people that that emerge, fix those systems. We talk about the parties, but are we there to fix them? Are we there to show up? Are we there to contribute? Are we there to enlist ourselves?
It's easier said than done, right? Not everybody has the liver for those types of things. At least that's the way it's perceived. That you go in there, And first of all, it's a boys' club, so I'm not interested in being in the middle of a bunch of men shouting back and forth at each other. That's the perception that I get. Do you understand? So I don't feel welcome as a woman. I don't feel welcome, period. Right? So it's like, well, do you get my point? Like, I've been in certain circles that are political, and at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, okay, so this is how we're going to do it, right? And so for me, it's easy to say, I agree that we should all be involved, right? But if I don't feel welcome and I don't feel safe,
I get what you're saying,
why am I going?
But we have to, I mean, look, like I always say to people, you are not born until you have something called the birth certificate, that's issued by government. That means the record of the birth is not anywhere. You're not educated until you have certifications, from first school, living certification to WAEC to degree issued by government. You are not married until you have that marriage certificate, the marriage license. You are not employed unless you are paying tax to a certain government. You can't even die unless government issues you a death certificate and says this person is dead officially. So if government is that important, then we have to pay attention to it. And if politics is the way to be in control of government, if politics is the way to determine who governs us, then we all have to be political.
Absolutely.
And I think they draw us into this thing whether we like it or not. If you are not there, somebody else is there. Somebody else is there making decisions on your behalf. Right. So if young people are not there, there are some people there making decisions on behalf of young people. If a woman is not there, there's some woman there, So why can't it be you? Why can't it be me? So I think, we just have to break into these spaces. And I think, there's just a bit of a similarity in terms of what young people in politics face and what, in politics, they don't even call me a young person. They will probably say, I'm a toddler or a kid, and that's at almost 40, So they don't even want us there. They don't want young people there. They don't want women there. But we have to be there because you literally determine our lives. This is our life.
So how do you basically as a facilitator, right? Because as you've said, right, you're not necessarily like trying to run for governor, or whatever.
Not yet.
Well, okay,
not yet. So I think eventually I might get to something.
Okay,
but
fantastic. As an aspirational, leader, political leader, and a current political leader of sorts, right, within the parties and in your I guess circles, how are you creating safer spaces for women?
Well, to be honest, you're not.
Well, maybe even say, let's start from the situation.
Okay.
I heard you say they don't want women there.
Yeah.
Maybe we can start there. Like, where did that statement come from? What have you seen that makes you see? It's an insightful statement. I don't know if you.
Yeah, that's a great question.
The truth is, they don't want anybody there.
Exactly.
They are trying to keep as many people out as possible. Now, especially women, because it's one more thing to worry about. Young people can be accommodated in certain ways. Money, young people are still trying to come up in life, so you can put them down by talking down on them or something, or by, just mentoring and saying, come is my boy, that kind of thing. And you bring them along. But with women, I think they see women as a threat because women in politics often pull power.
Yep.
The moment you're a woman in politics, it creates a problem for the male politician, because you can start bringing up facts like no woman has ever been Lagos State governor. Mm-hmm. Why not me? Yeah. So imagine two people in a dead heat to be governor of Lagos State. One is a man, one is a woman. The woman is going to play all the cards that she has. Absolutely. And one of those cards is the fact that, look, I'm a woman. No woman has ever been. So why not make me? So that's a step ahead if you're in a society that tolerates women. So I think, there's that deliberate exclusion thing. And then there's also the idea that a lot of men in Nigeria are still stuck on that chauvinism. They're still stuck on that patriarchal mentality that, look, it's our thing. It's our thing. And that's why you find out that, meetings are held at night. That's why you find that, I mean, you're holding meetings in hotels, where you just kind of, it's not spoken.
Right.
There's no politician that's going to come out and say, look, I don't like women. Or that's going to come out and say, I don't want women there. Right? Yeah, what am I? Yeah, no, so it's for me, it's my goal is politics.
Right.
And I think that's one thing that we need to be real about with ourselves about.
And if it's not something you're already doing, what are some things that
you
consider?
There's politics. Yeah. There's politics. Politics doesn't care. Politics doesn't care if you're MI, it doesn't care if you're Demola, it doesn't care if you're Fifehan. It's politics. Politics is you want to win. If you have to embrace women to win, you will embrace them. If you have to push women away to win, you push them away. If you have to, politics doesn't care. And I'm a facilitator in politics, so I'm more of the cold one, so to speak. I'm more of the one who, if we don't have to do it, we don't have to do it. So I won't say I'm essentially tied to the idea of, let's bring women into politics. No, it's not my goal. My goal is I want to win. My goal is I want to win. Now,
at the expense
if women, not necessarily at the expense of anything else.
So that means, because that's what it sounds like to me, right? It sounds like at the expense of everything else, meaning that I don't really care if anybody is.
Not necessarily everything, but anything.
Yeah, anything, right?
So whatever that thing is.
So we're talking specifically about women, right? So at the expense of.
Now, what I do realize is the fact that we are at a point in time, and the reason why I speak this way, or the reason why I say this, is because I want any woman listening or any woman watching to come into, and also you, Fifehan, because at the end of the conversation, I would really like you to come into politics. Now, at the end, of the day, no, I really do. I really do, because at the end of the day, I want you to come into politics with that same bold, that same mentality. Politics doesn't give an F if I am a woman or a man. It only gives an F that I can deliver results and win.
Fair.
Now, if you are that person who can deliver results, that's all politics cares about. Politics doesn't care. It doesn't care if you are the star or you are the guy. Politics is, Emma said, life is bisexual. You understand? Yeah. That's politics. Politics is bisexual. Politics doesn't care.
It's not gendered.
It's not gendered. Politics is power. If you're a woman who can get power, people will farm you. People will come to you. If you're a woman who's rich, people will come to you for money, whether they like it or not. They'll do whatever they can do, whatever they need to do to get to use your money to get. If you're a woman who is connected, I mean, way back, as far back as there's this woman that was called Pele Aniwura.
I think I've heard of her.
Pele Aniwura. So it's a very strong woman. She was a market woman in Lagos. Strong market woman in Lagos. Now, she had a very close friend, Herbert Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay was a politician, NNDP, founded the first political party. So Herbert Macaulay was really close to this woman. And because of her, Herbert Macaulay was delivering results. They were winning in Lagos. NNDP was always winning back to back because women were allowed to vote in Lagos. And it wasn't just that women were allowed to vote. It was that some men too could not vote and some women could not vote. You had to be somebody who paid taxes.
Okay, to vote.
The tax was fixed about, I think, £1 34 shillings or something, £1.34. It was some funny. So you had to have paid that amount of tax
to be eligible.
Now, the more people who were paying it was the market women, because they were the ones who were making money. The business guys were not really able to. I mean, their business was very successful enough for them to pay that much in tax per year. I think you had to be earning that or something. I can't remember either earning it or paying it in tax, but it was 134. And so, what was the market women? So Abaga saw the sense in the fact that, look, rather than aligning with the elite crowd who don't have a vote in this system, I better align with the market women who are the taxpayers.
But that hasn't changed
in this system.
Women are
he aligned with them.
Yeah.
So because the women in that society were stronger than men because they had the votes. And for a very long time, NNDP was winning in Lagos back to back because it was closely allied to women. Now,
what I'm hearing you say is that it sounds like there was an intentional, I don't know the other word for emasculate, but like taking away of power from women because they saw this trend that it
was an emasculation of everybody basically, because I mean you had situations where you had people like Enrica was friends with the elite, but the elite were not the guys who were paying the taxes in the system. So the men themselves were emasculated. They couldn't vote. The people who had more votes were the market women.
Right.
Who were trading with the colonialists. This was
that.
in colonialism.
Okay.
Now, I got there by the point I was making was politics is bisexual. Right. It doesn't care.
Non-gendered.
It's not non-gendered. Non-gendered. Politics is non-gendered, you know. Now it doesn't care. Now, I was imitating them. I was trying to bite
this is a great point, and I want to come. So, even though politics doesn't care, society does.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Society does care what your gender is, and it punishes some people for being the wrong gender.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The larger scale. So, as someone that's there, the question I would ask is that if there are women watching this, you've been in the game, what's the playbook? How do we fix this problem?
Yeah, how do we help them?
Where do we start?
Yeah.
Embrace everything that you are embrace everything that you are and reject everything that you're not. But understand it. Understand everything that you're not. But embrace all that you are. Like, the point I always make is, if I'm a man, I'm going to use that in politics. If you're a woman, come in and use it. I've seen situations where we successfully used the gender of a person to win against someone. I just give an example. There are two people running. One is a man, one is a woman. The woman has to embrace all that she is, the fact that she's a woman, and make it clear to everybody that, look, I am all woman, and nothing
so what I'm
woman
hearing is be authentically woman. Don't try and be, because one thing I think, and I might be helping make you, I'm not sure, but one thing that I've noticed about just generally like humanity is that, like, especially with women, is like women feel like we need to now act like men. Do you understand? To be able to make it. And what I'm hearing you say is like, actually, you need to be your full.
That would be a mistake.
But that's
full woman.
Right.
Because it's politics, like I said. If I'm tall, I would be asking that, the zone. No, okay.
Jude is not tall, so that's why.
Okay, let me not use that. Let me use.
No, use it.
No, please use it. Please use it. Like, he's not a woman. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm wearing a black shirt, and you want people to say. So what I would say to people is, do you guys know that black is good? Black is good. Black is good. Black is good. Okay, but Emma is wearing a black cap, so I'm like, okay, so that might win him some votes, but that would knock you out first of all. So okay, all right, but black shirt, black is good. So vote for the person wearing black shirts. I'm wearing black shirt. I'm identifying with some of you. Especially if I notice that many people in the room are wearing black shirts. So if you notice that many voters will connect with the fact that you're a woman, be authentically woman. And what we increasingly discover is that women have these numbers in society. Women have these numbers, and that role is becoming increasingly important. And that's why I feel that, I don't have any statistics to back this up, but I think in my head, I just think that there's no better time for a woman to enter politics than now. Because, there's the international push for women, and there's the increasing change over the years. Look, there was a time when women in the North could not vote. Okay? Women in the North could not vote. And it was because, like I said, it wasn't just because they were women. It was because the opposition political party in the North at that time had captured the political women base. So you had the ruling political class was Northern People's Congress, NPC, led by Ahmadu Bello, Tafawa Balewa, and all the rest of them. They were there. And then you had the opposition, which was the NEPU, Northern Elements Progressive Union, which was led by Aminu Kano. Now, Aminu Kano was a feminist, I believe, before his time. Aminu Kano took his wife on the Tower of Bauchi when women were not supposed to be seen in public. But you couldn't challenge Aminu Kano because Aminu Kano was from Kano State, and Kano State didn't exist, and was from the Kano region, and he was from a family of clerics. His grandfather had been an Islamic cleric. His own father had been an Islamic cleric, and then his mothers were learned. His mothers could read Arabic. So his family was from a family of scholars. So he was challenging them that, look, point it out to me in the Holy Book where he says that women cannot be seen in public. And I'm going to take my wife in Bauchi. And this was the time when, women could be killed for being seen in public. Oh, wow. But because he was respected that way, he was always doing those kind of things, and letting people, in fact, he wrote a letter about the education of the girl child. This was before independence. And it was an hallmark. Now, he had this very strong supporter called Gambo Sawaba, one of the first feminists, Gambo Sawaba. Now, they had the women vote on lockdown. So because the opposition had it on lockdown, the Northern People's Congress said that women could not vote. But guess what? By 1979, when Nigeria changed from parliamentary system to presidential system, in the parliamentary system, Tafawa Balewa only needed to be voted for in Bauchi area for him to be elected as a member of parliament. And then at the parliament, he would become prime minister. In a presidential system, you needed every vote from every part of the country. So the North saw that it was disadvantaged, against the South, because the Southern women were voting. So if the Southern women were voting, and Awolowo and Azikiwe would have had more votes from the South than what the Northerners could pull. And so they now went and started going all over. They went to Saudi Arabia, went everywhere, and said they now have a new interpretation. That they've now found out that women can vote. Yes, this is our history. This was in 1978, 1979. They sent Sheikh Gumi, the father of the president, Sheikh Gumi, the new Sheikh Gumi, his own father was the Grand Cadi of the North at that time, that had passed that edict. So his own father went everywhere in 1978 and they said, we've just discovered and seen that women can actually vote. And that was how they unlocked the power of women vote. But again, it plays into the point that I make about politics being non-gendered. If people need women votes, they will put women on the ticket.
Yeah, but see, this is the thing that Jude said that I actually also want to address when it comes to politics, is that, like he said, it's the society that's going to vote. They see gender. And they see it very clearly as far as they're concerned. Even you see it in America now, I don't want a woman to lead me. So how do you, especially in the kind of, look at what's happened in the Senate. I don't need to speak of that again, right? When you see that kind of thing that happens, in your government, and then you think of what you're saying in terms of our history and what politics
look at what happened in Kogi. Look at what happened. So I'm listening to the conversation. It's an amazing conversation from both of you. And one of the things I hear is like a yearning for him to communicate to young women watching, get involved.
Exactly.
Get involved.
You're actually in a purely political sense. You're actually in a very strong position.
Exactly.
Right? However, to get to that strong position, you must pass through society.
Exactly.
You must pass through the actual boys' club, which is, it is a real boys' club.
Yes.
It's a real boys' club that has real danger.
Real danger.
Yeah, real danger.
Yeah.
Outside of the fact that society has real danger already.
And some of those politicians that play dirty use that as a tool, right? They use society as a tool. We know this, right?
Yes.
So, and I want to be like, when I talk to my crew and everything, I say this is not a conversation where we're trying to like trip people up or anything. So I have an honest conversation. I'm learning a lot listening to you, but maybe the question is, as somebody that's walked into that world, what do you, looking through the film, like, it's so interesting to see the historical context of feminism. It's part of the story that's lost, and we should.
This part of the narratives we're talking about that we need to,
but
enhance,
and even the story that we've famously heard, like the Abaga women's riot, right?
Yeah.
It's still in a way sexualized in a way. Yeah. Like as a kid, when I heard it, it was like still like, oh, these women came out and they took off their, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's, the question is real talk. How difficult would it be? Real talk with the country today. Real talk. How difficult it would be for women to get mobilized and start to get out there. The boys' club is going to kick back. They're going to push back.
Yeah. So
and this game is a dangerous game.
Yeah, because sorry, just one more example. Even look at what Feminist Code did, right? Femco. Right. Like look at the way it was. Look, you know what I'm saying?
Look, I think most of these problems come from society.
Exactly.
And I think it's important what MI brings in here. The nuance is given it, and I really get it. Now, I think it's more of a societal problem than a political problem. In politics, people don't get. Men will treat you as equals in politics if they know what you bring. I've sat at tables with people who are 60, who are 65, who are 70, and they treated me as an equal because of what they felt I was bringing to the table. the same thing for women also, because of what they feel. So politics is probably where I think, women can excel most. And it's where it's where it has always happened in the world. But you have to know what you're doing, basically. You have to know what you're doing, and you have to have the guts to go for it. Margaret Thatcher was able to become prime minister because she was brutally honest with herself. She didn't blind herself. At the end of the day, there are only two kinds of politicians. There are the good politicians and the bad politicians. The good politician is the one who wins. The bad politician is the one who doesn't win. So it's not, there's women. Politics is one of the fields where nobody cares. Look, if a woman is going to win for us, let her win. Bring her in and let her win. You will literally not find a single politician, even the ones that vote against it in House of Rep, even the ones that vote against pro-women bills in the House of Rep, you will not find any one of them that will come out and openly admit to being a chauvinist.
So then why do these things happen?
Because the society, the only politicians are chameleons. Basically, if a politician comes in here and everyone is wearing white, he would ask to go out, and he's wearing black, he would ask to go out and also wear white. Or you won't be surprised if he pulls off the black and you see that he's wearing white also. He has all the colors under. Look at the backlash that came from society. Once the backlash came from society, from women in society, what happened? Yeah. The guy said, you know what? Let's roll back this decision. Yeah. We are going to review it. So, but the societal problem now, where it should go is society needs to punish a lot of these things. You cannot allow people to come out and express certain opinions or certain views about women without punishing those things. You cannot allow certain tickets to fly, in many states. It was when politicians realized women have votes. And I'm looking for votes. I'm trying to defeat the incumbent party. I realize women have votes. I want to put a woman on my ticket. I want to put a woman on my ticket just to make sure that
So are you actually saying
I'm saying generally that if you're an opposition person right. and you realize that women have votes, so there's a male ticket, you are going to try and come up with a male-female ticket so that you can lock down the female vote. But then you're looking for the ideal female. You're looking for a female who's ideal, and that's not something the ideal in terms of society as of now.
Right.
Might not be a Jezani figure, might be an Okoje Iweala figure. Yeah. I'm not talking personally there. Yeah, I'm not talking personally there. Yeah. But that might be where society is. But a lot of politics depends on society, and because it depends on society, a lot of things that go wrong in society also go wrong in politics. Femco, you mentioned, I'm disappointed that, young people of our generation seem to be punishing certain women for doing nothing other than standing up for their people, other than stepping up when everybody else refused to step up.
That's a great point.
And, a lot of young people are
the reason why I say it's a great point
going crazy about that.
Even when, I'm not to absorb, we're still coming back.
Yeah, we're coming back to it. Yeah.
It's a great point to say that the response by society when what happened to Femco happened was like,
exactly.
It wasn't like this is a violation of freedom.
Exactly.
Do you understand? It was like, oh yeah, they got what they deserve. And as a reflection, I can see that. But I want to come back and still ask a question. Today, the truth about it is that even in the context of what we're saying, the power still is with mostly men.
Yeah. That's the bottom line.
So much work to do constitutionally, so much work. Yeah. The question maybe I'll ask is, outside of us being political, as men, how do we start to contribute to the problem? Because if we just
how do we start
to contribute to fixing the problem, right? Like, yes, you're a politician, and what I hear you say is that the game is the game. Once you sign up, once you're on the field, once it's game time, whistle goes, referee's on, the game is the game. We're here to win.
I don't see.
But the question is that, okay, there's 4 years within which we're training.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And we can now be like, hey, because we know that a disempowered person doesn't see the same options as an empowered person.
Yeah.
Do you understand? What do we need to do to make as we are in politics, what do we need to do to make society better so politics can be more fair? I don't know if that makes sense. If the lever is society,
exactly, that's
political men
that
still need to get involved in society. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I've seen him think like every time he asks me a question, he's thinking. So I want to give him time to maybe think about the answer. But the question is like, you're a person at the seat of power. You understand it, right? And yes, you're saying, look, when I'm there, the game is the game. But I'm still a man in power. And I still can say that the game can be better. And the game can be more fair. And it's not fair. What do we do?
Get in. That's what I would say. Get in.
How do we get people? How do you
facilitate that?
Now, I bring as many women as possible along with me on the journey. Because you never know when.
But let me ask you, what do you think can be done differently?
Now,
right.
The first thing that occurs to me, or the first thing that's most obvious, and not just because it is something that is done, but because it has its own logic. It's affirmative action. Now, people talk down a lot on affirmative action.
No, I'm not judging it.
No. Sounded somehow.
No. Actually, my was like,
No, I know people have a lot of issues with affirmative action.
No,
but look, let's have it. Yeah. Look, in the constitution of my party today, you're having 3 ward delegates. One of them must be a woman. Out of the 3, must be. So if you're a man, whether you like it or not, from your ward, the third person must be a woman. If you choose one man, choose a second man. By the time you're choosing the third man, the third person, it has to be a woman.
Why is it 3? Is it a split vote? Let me ask you a question.
The idea is okay. So these ad hoc ward delegates. These ad hoc ward delegates are people who vote. They have votes at every congress and convention. So you have from every ward, you choose 3 of them. Now, one of them has to be a woman.
So there's a minimum. What you're saying is not that they can be all 3 women.
They can be all 3 women.
But you're saying that,
but there's a minimum. There has to be that minimum guarantee.
At the very
and
least.
Then, and PDP also has it that if whatever you're deciding, you have to pay attention to the fact that you have to have 30% women. Now, under
30, what 30 though?
30, 35. I think that was part of the Beijing 1995 convention.
Okay, so some of these things might need to be adjusted, but at least there's something.
Yeah, now it can be more. Yeah. It can be more. But then the important point is, let's not run away from affirmative action because it's politics. Look, if I'm a young person, I'll use the fact that I'm a young person to gain leverage. If I am, whatever you are in politics is what you use. So if you're a woman, use it to gain leverage. Don't be afraid of using it. And I think that's the point I'm making. I'm not just saying that the game is the game. I'm saying that you have to be focused on the game. Not just that it is what it is, but that you have to be what it is. You have to get into it, and then you have to make your way with it. So if everything that you are is what you bring into politics, if you're a woman, bring it into politics and use it. Don't apologize for being a woman in politics. And for me, that's how I would like to encourage everybody. That
you like to basically
it's too important. More women, of course. Because look, politics is too important to our lives.
I agree with you in terms of recruiting women.
Even as women.
I agree with you in terms of because at the end of the day, representation matters. Like I said, if I don't see, my peers or people that look like me or sound like me or have the kind of issues that I have on a daily basis as a woman, there's no...
As a man, the representation of women also matters. Because
exactly.
You see, what a lot of men do not realize is that when we have certain conversations still about women, we are not having it for the benefit of women. We're having it for the benefit of the entire humanity.
Double tap on that one.
Yeah.
Loud it.
Look, we're not having it for the sake of women.
That's what I say.
We're having it for the sake of humanity.
Absolutely.
Because you see, men always make this mistake, and a lot of it, I guess, is religious. And men think, oh, okay, we are from this Adamic race. Look, dude, when God created Adam, if you believe in that,
right, exactly.
Right? If you believe in that, when God created him, the Bible says that God created Adam in his own image, male and female created him. So the male and female gene was in the man. But when Eve was going to be brought out, it was brought out, and so what you had was an incomplete man. So humanity is never complete until the woman finds her role in society. And I think, a lot of problems, societies that have unlocked the power of the woman, they advance faster. It's like creating a set. It's like saying, oh, okay, a man should do this set, for instance. All respect to men also. You're saying a man should do this set. He might not think to put this beautiful lighted candle here. Because the man is just thinking, oh, what are they doing? MI, Fife, Demola, they are talking. Let's put them on one couch. There's no color. And I'm not saying that's all women bring. But I'm saying, look, you have to have the perspective of everybody in society. There's an example I always make. If you ask, if everybody is 5 feet tall, okay, I don't want to use height again. He said, stop looking. Oh, am I? And now I'm not.
Please use shots. 5 foot.
No, I'm not going to use shots.
No,
I'm not going to use shots. I'm going to use size. I'm going to do that. No,
all short people use things.
I'm not.
You feel discriminated against. You're going to rise.
See what
I'm saying, and especially.
But that's politics for you. That's politics.
Exactly.
That's politics. So if you're going to appeal to them, you'll be appealing with the fact that, look, you know what? These two guys are men. But you're going to come with that. But basically, what I wanted to say was, if the world was designed by people who are a certain way, then the world is going to be a certain way. But in that same world, you also have people who are another way, who are different. So you have to create that diversity in the world. And that is how societies have developed. Because societies themselves saw that, look, by excluding women from these conversations, we are hurting our own selves.
Absolutely.
But societies like Nigeria, we keep on holding to these things, and we are not unlocking the power of women.
So that's the real cocoa of the Oro. I was saying that, so the points, that's the key points that you're here. I mean, I really appreciate everything you said, and I think we're pretty much aligned for the most part. But I would like to just push further and just ask, how can we, influence that? Because that's kind of what we're doing here, right? Like the conversation, the idea is that people hear it.
I want to ask a question. We've been guests here. I want to hear from your perspective about this issue. So, what I've sort of heard is he's laid down the charge.
Right.
Hey, you guys know what? You're half of society. Without playing the boys' game, you have half the vote. Mm-hmm. Right? But the question I'm asking is that from your perspective, what does the game look like? So that maybe he can also what does the game look like to you? Why is it that generally, I don't want to say women don't get involved because I don't have the statistics on that, but in the way that men do, in those seats of, you see this, it's clear to see why and said it's clear. I mean, why am I even asking her? Is it because, it's not her. Yeah. Oh, but what does it like? What does it feel like to be a woman in Nigeria today, in the sense of the political framework?
Generally, it literally just feels like we don't have a voice, and it feels like nobody really wants to listen. It feels like they're intimidated, to be honest. Yeah. And it feels like they just like, it's almost kind of like we exist to almost as their commodity, or you know what I mean, like as like we were bred to be long, or we were bred to be used, or do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what I'm saying, but not as equals, not as equal human.
In politics, it's different.
I hear you, but I'm not seeing that though. Do you understand?
There's a hunger in politics. Yeah.
No, I wanted her to. Sorry, bro. I wanted her to. I'm not disagreeing. I mean, I'm just trying to hear her perspective. Yes. Do you understand? Not to say, like, I think we've laid down the charge, but please let me.
I was saying that I want Fife to come into politics also. Yeah. But there's a hunger, and that hunger is being filled by market women, by people who are not as knowledgeable as some other women.
So you're saying women are showing up, but
maybe not the type of women.
I'm saying people are bringing women into politics, but not necessarily the kind of women that speak up for women.
Yeah, so it feels like, right, I hear you. And so that's actually my point, right? Like, so it just doesn't feel like I would have a place, right? Like, it feels like I would be facing insurmountable odds.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what am I Jesus? Like, no.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
It's not safe.
It just does not feel safe.
It's hotels, it's late night meetings. They tell you, politicians.
I don't even mind the late night things, but it's not safe in Nigerian society.
In Nigerian society.
I don't mind late nights. I don't mind hotels. I'm not, you know me now. Should you call me your guy? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm that person.
And then, they say
they'll now call you names.
They say, if you're a single woman in politics, they say you're not responsible, which also comes against a single man. But in a woman, they say you're not responsible. And then when you're married, you have to ask yourself which man is going to tell you, wake him up and tell him you're going for a meeting by 3 a.m.
No, but then again, do you see my point?
Yeah.
That you just said it. Sorry, I mean, you kind of fell into that one.
Yeah.
Which man is going to allow his... Do you understand what I'm saying? If we're really equal, then it shouldn't be an allowing. Should be me as your wife, the husband, is allowed to go later at
I'm
night.
talking in terms of the context of the society.
But we're saying the same thing.
I personally don't allow my wife... I don't allow. I'm saying I don't allow in the sense of it's not my place to allow. Okay, so if she wants to do it,
so you don't.
It's a different word.
It's not necessarily my decision to make. If it's something you want to do, you do it. It's your decision to make. Now, it's your decision to make. Okay, if you want to do it now. Because I'm not going to also allow myself to be in that thing where you would have to permit me. So there's that. But the majority of society is that way.
Exactly.
And they do it deliberately, probably to raise barriers against women. But what I'm saying is this: I don't have the powers to bring down those barriers. I'm going to do my bit because I realize that this moment in time, towards 2023 and in the future, society is becoming more... Society is moving away from what it was. It's inevitable, and that's why I've talked about some of the history of it. To say that, look, it wasn't the way it was before. And unless you are a foolish politician, you won't see that in future, you have to create those spaces for women to be in politics. Now, you might do it, the society might do it as a tokenist measure, but I recognize the balance. I recognize the world balance. I recognize that women's rights are human rights. And if I'm a part of humanity, I must include it in anything I'm doing. I recognize that. Politics may see it as the political thing to do. Like, it's a smart thing to do. Because they are wise. Now, what I'm saying is there's a hunger in politics for women who are smart and who want to come into the game. There's that hunger. And not just the hunger, there's also that, it's also the right time, not just globally, but also in the Nigerian society. Like we mentioned FEMCO, and it's something that, I feel somehow about, seeing, the backlash that comes against them and all that. And look, get into politics, ladies. If they are watching, get into politics. Don't let it deter you. What you did was phenomenal in the history of this country. Occupy Nigeria brought down an entire government in 2015. Occupy Nigeria was 2012. Occupy Nigeria, January 2012 to February 2015, or March 2015, when was the election, was a certain number of months. It wasn't as close to the election to have had an impact as NSAS was to the next election. Let them feel your effect. Let it be felt in the next election. Let the world see it. And when they are writing the history, let them come back and say, you know what, this was where it started. And you know what, these were the ladies who were behind it.
Can I ask a quick question, though?
Yeah.
How do you protect us that want to do that? Because it's you guys that can do that.
How do we protect?
Yes.
Well,
how do I make sure I don't get shut up? You know what I'm saying?
Well, this is the good thing. This is the good thing.
If NSAS was happening now, or my account's frozen.
If NSAS was happening now, nobody will shoot anybody. Because it's really close to election. It's too close. They shut it down then because they felt there was a certain that people will forget. Nobody is going to do anything. So if you want to be, this is the time for me to come out and insult APC. I can get really personal. It's kind of accepted because a lot of things in this country get swept under the carpet, under the guise of politics. And and that's what I'm saying. That politics itself doesn't care. It's non-gendered. Doesn't care. So if I slap somebody generally I could be charged with assault. But if I slap somebody at a political rally, it's called political slap or political violence.
Are you serious?
I mean, there's something like political, they say it's a political killing. Please, you killed somebody now. Why are you calling it a political killing? It's a murder.
Why?
Charge the person. Somebody assaulted somebody.
He's right that we frame it within the
context of politics.
Yeah, during elections, like
many things
people died. They say
political killings. Say 100 people died politically. Please, 100 people, 100 human beings died. If it happened at any other time, so a lot of things. So let's also take advantage of that in politics. Let them come in. Let them demand that this government be brought to book for what happened. Let them. It's time to be bold. Don't shirk from that thing, don't shirk from it. Because I think, if you shirk from it, and, I don't want to say, I'm sorry to say this, but if you shirk from it, what you are doing is you are sending a signal to other ladies that you can also be bullied out. Don't. Let's step up. Step up. Endorse somebody. They'll say, oh, you were political all along. They'll say, oh, you had an agenda all along. Oh, you were anti this, anti that all along. Yes, we were. Deal with it. You don't owe them that explanation, especially at this point, But what was done? And again, a lot of people in politics are taking advantage of it. A lot of people who are taking advantage of that entire thing that happened with Femco. And I think, I think that's perhaps a good turning point for this conversation. What Femco did. What they did was essentially to provide, to facilitate something. They stepped into a role that the political leaders should have filled.
Yep, exactly.
But we're not filling.
Exactly.
So there's a problem that arose because of the same political leaders. And to demand something that ordinarily should be a demand that political leaders should understand. We don't want SARS to kill us anymore.
I don't even think they were demanding. They were just saying, hey,
society was demanding it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, they came in and facilitated all the things that happened. So they don't need to step back. I personally feel that they should step up. And I think, it's going to be a turning point for women in the history of Nigeria. Because in the same way we talk about women's rights of 1929, it wasn't because, we don't know many of the names, but it was an historical, it was a pivot on which history turns. The same way we talk about Funmilayo Ransome Kuti driving the first car. Funmilayo Ransome Kuti wasn't thinking about, I'm the first woman. I'm sure she probably didn't even know.
Yeah.
She was the first woman to drive a car. She was just doing herself. She was just being herself. Oh, this is a car. I'm going to learn how to drive it and I'm going to drive. And then, you're the first woman to drive. Really nice. So just do what you have to do. Don't care what people have to talk about. It might look like I'm throwing the onus on women.
Right.
But so maybe in closing, I should also say that.
Yes. I was going to ask you.
Which, I've made that point earlier on. Women's rights are human rights.
Correct.
And if you deny women's rights, you are denying a part of yourself in humanity. Humanity can never be complete or robust until the rights of every human is respected. The fact that we have to explain this in 2022 is stupid, is not fair.
I wanted to say one more thing though, just because I know how Twitter is on social media.
Yeah.
There's a sentence you said that sounded weird. I think you tried to clear it up. Okay. You said about allow, but I want us to.
I said about
allow. So I want to come back to that so it's clear, so
just
everybody can.
Sure,
I've been in this situation. I've been in the situation where what I'm saying, and I felt like I don't want to look like I'm giving you a pass, but I felt like you didn't say the sentence right.
Okay.
I felt like what you were trying to say is that it's not your role to give your wife permission to get involved in politics. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. What I meant was, look, if she wants to do it, let her do it. If she wants to do it, she does it. It's not your place to determine. This person is a full human agency.
But what are the men afraid of? There must be something they're afraid of to allow.
Now, so that's the other part. That's the part that I was talking for when I said allow. Mm-hmm. The other part is the fact that I understand that a lot of men, have problems with their wives waking up and saying they're going for 10 p.m. meetings, with those gender roles and so on. A lot of men have problems with that. Now, I don't, But I also recognize the fact that a lot of women do not want to step up. A lot of women, even though they have supportive husbands, who don't have a problem with a lot of those things. I know a couple of women whose husbands, are like, you guys, politics, you're doing I'm in politics with a number of women whose husbands are like, look, why are you guys not involving her? Don't you do late night meetings anymore? I'm like, oh, really? This is good. So I know a lot of those. But there are women who need to also outgrow that patriarchal thinking, and outgrow it and come out of it and step out of it. So yeah, I think, for me, just step up. We need women in politics. Some of us need women in politics because some of us are already seeing the future. And we understand that the future is human. The future is human, not necessarily masculine. The future is human with every shade of humanity that you can think of.
No, I like it. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
The future is human. You cannot. Look. Even countries, even some of the Middle East countries that have been some of the most patriarchal societies, they are moving. And they are not moving, and these are societies that are cold.
But my thing
they are not moving because they love, they love just that, but because they understand that this is the logical thing to do.
That time
you're going to say
passed.
your thing is
Right.
that time has passed, basically.
Okay, go ahead.
No, all I was just going to say was that, I appreciate this conversation because, the audience is supposed to the goal of this is to speak to guys, like it's to be more like, male facing. And it's great that you're speaking like this. I think for me, if you leave here with anything, because I've lectured with a lot, you've like
I'm being here with a lot.
But it's that same information, right, that I think needs to that you need to find various platforms, and we're happy to work with you. I know for sure, that's happy to work with you in getting that message out to young men in the layman in society that at the end of the day, the future is human. Forget the gender. Forget what they are presenting as. Just leave that because that doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of developing this country.
I think maybe as one takeaway to add to what Fifehan is saying is that it's better for me. I'm becoming more political, getting involved. I really want to be involved.
Like that.
Yeah, but it's better for me maybe not to be as vocal about the position I am, but I want to say on both sides, for two of the parties, I would be really interested in being part of a group that intentionally singles out young women leaders and supports them, protects them at an early stage. And I would invite you that if we can form a small group of people that are like silently looking for this, and we don't need to take the credit, you know what I'm saying? Just support, find young women leaders, maybe early on, find a group of them, and would you be part of doing some mentorship and helping out there?
Yeah, I think there's one group doing that. I can't remember the name right now. Take her. She
elect her.
Elect her. Yeah, elect her.
Let's give some time. If you can volunteer, let's volunteer for elect her.
I would love to. Yeah. I would love to, and I would love to.
To bring curating content for them.
Yeah, even just I would even say we can find get if you're in a room with a bunch of young women that want to get into politics, and now the advice you can give them is looking through the lens, understanding what they do, you can give them advice. Here's my number, you can call me. If there's a problem, somebody harasses you, give me a call. If somebody asks you to do so and so, give me a call. I can point you in the direction of people that are safe. These are the safe spaces that are here.
Exactly.
I think we can start to create a roadmap that makes it easier. Intentionally do so.
I think that makes a lot of sense. It has to be because a lot of things don't become obvious to everybody until once somebody actually starts doing it. So even though some of us know that politics is now at a point where women have to be involved, and development society is dependent on the involvement of women, a lot of people will not see it unless some of us are intentional about, creating those spaces for women. Now, the time towards 2023 might be short, but the time is not, it might be short for those who want to be aspirants or who want to be candidates, but it's not short for those who want to be a force in that election. Look, it's not, women can still make a mark, will make a mark in 2023. We just have to, and I would love to. I think, this is something, if that's something I can take away from here, I think, it's something that we should do.
Because when I hang around the political class of yourself and your friends. You know the people I'm talking about that we've met each other.
Yeah.
There is, I will say this to young Nigerians, there is a different political class in Nigeria. There are young people that intentionally going in there.
Absolutely.
They really care about their integrity. If you look at their track record, you'll see it.
Yeah.
That they're playing the game, but they're trying.
But they're trying
to be, and you'll see it. You'll see, how they dress, how they carry themselves. And if we can get a group of them and say, hey, this is a problem, and it's an incredible opportunity. That's what I heard you say. This is an incredible opportunity for women to take the reins politically. But however, because power is not balanced today, we that are men in that situation
need to create
can help. Can create safer pathways.
We can. And it starts with, like taking women along for political meetings and assuring them, look, these are my women. These are women with me. Whatever, the guys don't touch, these are women with me and they have a lot to deliver here. Look, if it was not natural for women to participate in a conversation about political leadership, women wouldn't want to participate in it. Everything, but you have women who yearn to be part of political leadership.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have women who yearn to be part of the political discussion. So,
and they're scared.
So it's a natural phenomenon.
Yeah,
and this goes out to men.
In our midst.
We have a future governor of one state. I've been telling her she's here.
Look, I will work for you for free on the platform, provided your political views come
I'll bring it
on my political party. But really, I mean,
no, of course.
But really, you have to, because there's a demand, there's a hunger, whether those who are there realize it or not. But sometimes their eyes open and they realize, we have to involve. And then they have female deputies. Kaduna State has a female deputy governor now.
Yeah. Nice lady Amir.
Yeah, but it's not deputy alone.
Yeah. No, initially, I'm
even saying that it's not deputy.
In Kaduna, what you had in Kaduna was a Muslim governor. Initially, it was a Muslim governor of 2015. Muslim governor, Muslim deputy governor, both men. Muslim governor and a Christian deputy governor. Both men. Now, when he wanted to remove the Christian deputy governor and bring in a Muslim, it had to be a woman. Because he realized he had to lock down he was going to lose the Christian vote, but he had to lock down the women vote. So he put a Muslim ticket, but it was a man-woman. So a lot of them stumble on these things and realize, look, there's a demography here that we need to hit on. There's a demographic here that needs to come in. And so if people within that demography also step up, there was a time when, the entire youth clamor started. Youth in politics, and people started bringing in their own sons because youths were not in politics. They didn't find young people in politics, but they started bringing in their own children. They say, she is young person they want. You too, how old are you now? You're 25. Come now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Come in. You're also a young person. They were bringing in their own children until some of us whose fathers were never in politics, who didn't have any lineage in politics, decided that, what? It's not only your own children that can be there. We're also going to be there. But now we are also we're also getting older, so we can't play that card anymore. But one card that will never grow old,
I was going to say something and I forgot it.
Yeah, I want to say something to the camera. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout this podcast, you may have seen us try to beat flies away. Some of you may be wondering what's going on this set. Is there food lying around? Is the crew safe? And what we want to say to you from Talk About It podcast is that it's just Nigerian flies. You guys know what we're talking about. We've done it all. We've cleaned the place. We've done everything. They come and they stop our...
Is this your takeaway?
Yeah, they come and... I'm coming back. But I saw you, they saw the fly, and we've killed...
No, doesn't matter. It's a Nigerian thing, and I'm Nigerian. I'm not going to pretend like, flies are a problem. It's not.
You guys, it's not us. Our set is clean.
It's a Nigerian thing. But, no.
Nigerians will take care and be like, this has been so impactful.
Am I wrap this up properly?
My brother, what I've heard is that there's an incredible opportunity for Nigerian women to rise and take their seat rightfully, the seat that has been held back from them for so long, right? As equal partners in the direction of Nigeria going forward, and that you and I are going to be a class of the privileged humans in Nigeria from the middle class that are going to help build safe pathways.
Are we just going to talk about it?
No,
You're going to be about it.
Yeah. We're going to be about it.
I think we should. I think we should. It's important for us. It's important for society. It's important. Look, let's do it.
Yes.
Let's do it. It's an important thing that needs to happen.
Let's go. Fifehan, you getting involved?
Sure.
There's no wrap up here. We stop talking.
Yeah,
We'll start
right.
wrapping.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Thank you, bro, for coming
guys.
out.
Thank you, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
I want to say one more thing. There's a brilliant politician in Ekiti State. Her name is Simi
Olusola.
And we should all support her.
Yeah.
We should all support her.
Yeah,
She's not just doing it, she's doing it the absolute right way.
She's running for governor.
She's running for House of Reps.
Okay.
And she's doing it the right way.
That's what I wanted to say. Sorry, finish.
Go ahead. I'm done. And so Simi, shout out to you.
Simi, shout out to you too.
Yeah, shout out to you, Simi. Sorry. I'm not sure which
Do you
camera.
know Simi?
No, but seriously, shout out to Simi.
Yeah, Simi.